Welcome back, mathematicians. This week we're going to work on 2.N.1.5, which tells us that we're going to recognize when to round numbers to the nearest 10 and 100. So if you and a friend are at a carnival and you won 67 tickets and your friend won 51 tickets, and you're going to combine your tickets to get a prize, about how many tickets do you have? About means you don't need the exact number, you just need to be close. So 67 is close to 70, and 51 is close to 50. So you could add 70 and 50 together and know about how many you have, which you have about 120 tickets to spend. Okay? So tips for rounding. You want to look at the right, which is your left, which is your right. Okay? Find your right hand. Look to the number to the right of the place value you wish to round to. If the digit to the right, you're always going to look to the right, is 5 or greater, add 1 in the digit in the place value. So let's look at an example. So if we have 54 and we want to round to the nearest 10, we put it in our place value chart. We have 5 tens and 4 ones. So the place value to the right of the tens place is the ones place, okay? So here's the tens place. The one to the right is the ones place. The digit in the ones place is what number? What is that? 4. So this is the part you have to memorize. So if the number in the ones place is 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, the number in the tens place stays the same when you're rounding. So this is the tens place. So this will stay the same. It'll stay a 5. So 54 rounds down to 50. Okay? So you put a 0 in that place because you're either going to round down or up. The 4 tells us we need to round down. So that would become 50. Rounding is kind of hard. You got to really think about it. So we're going to do some practice. So look at this number, 764. And we're going to round to the nearest 100. So we have 7 in the hundreds place, 6 in the tens place, 4 in the ones place. Okay, so it wants us to round to the nearest 100, so we find the hundreds place. That's right here. And then we go to the right of the hundreds place, which is here, the tens place. And what number is in the tens place? A 6. So if the number in the tens place is 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, then we're going to round up. And so that means this number is going to go up by 1. So this would change to an 8, and you change everything else to zeros. So 764 rounded up would then become 800. I know it's pretty confusing. We need to practice some. Okay, we have 39. And this wants to round to the nearest tens place. So we have the 3. We need to look at the number to the right, which is a 9. So if it's a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, remember we round up. So what would that make this new number? If you don't have your whiteboard with you, go grab it. Or if you need to just use a paper and pencil, go grab that now. Okay, so you should have your stuff to write on because you need to practice. So 39 to the nearest 10. So if it's a 9, we're going to round up, which makes it, remember this one goes up by 1, and then you put a 0 in the ones place. Okay? We're still rounding by 10, so we have 453. But it just wants the nearest 10, so we don't even have to look at the 4. Okay? We want to look at the 5 and the 3. So we look at the number in the tens place when it wants us to round to the nearest 10, and we look at the one number to the right of it. So 3 is less than 5. 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4. We're going to round up or down. Okay, pause the video and put your answer down. Unpause the video to check it. Okay, so the 4 will stay the same because we're just rounding to the tens, not the hundreds. So we don't have to do anything with that. So we have 53. The 3 is less than 5. So we're going to round down. So this stays the same, 5. and then the 3 becomes a 0. So we have 450. Okay, what about 64? Pause the video and put your answer down, what you think. Okay, so we're rounding to the tens. We look at the number to the right of it. That's this right there. Okay, if this number is less than 5, we round down. So that means the 6 stays the same. And then we change that 4 to a 0. Okay, try the next one. It's rounding to the tens, not the hundreds, so we don't need to worry about the 3, so the 3 is going to stay the same, so you can just automatically put the 3 at the beginning of your answer. Okay, so 7, 8. So we want to round to the 10, so we're looking at the 7, we have to look to the number to the right of it. So is it more or less than 5? That tells you what you need to do. If it's more than 5, that will change to 8. If it's less than 5, that will stay a 7. So pause the video and put down what you think is the answer and unpause it to check. Okay, so 8 is more than 5. So this 7 is going to go up 1, and then that 1 goes to a 0. So we have 380 now. So it's rounded up. Okay, 31 rounded to the nearest 10. Look to the number to the right. Pause the video and write down your answer, and then unpause it to check. Okay, 1 is less than 5. So the 3 stays the same, and we make the 1 a 0. Good. Okay, now next thing we're going to do is round to 100. So you can erase your whiteboard. Now we're going to round to the nearest 100. So now we need to look at the hundreds place. If you don't have your place value memorized, you should start trying to memorize it, but you can use a place value chart for now. So 5 is in the hundreds place, 3 is in the tens place, 9 is in the ones place. So remember, we look to the number to the right that we're looking for. So we look in the hundreds column because we want to round to the nearest 100. We're going to look to the number to the right of that. Is the 3 more or less than 5? Okay, so 3 is less than 5. So that means this is going to stay the same. So our 5 stays the same. And then everything else becomes a 0. Okay, try the next one. 421 rounded to the nearest 100. Start by looking at the 4 and then look at the number to the right of it and think, is it more than or less than 5? Because that tells you what you need to do. So pause the video and try it on your own, and then unpause the video to check your answer. Okay, so 421, I'm looking at the 2, because that's to the right of the hundreds place. So 2 is less than 5, so 4 is going to stay the same, and then everything else becomes zeros. So it rounds down to 400. Okay, try the next one, 763. Okay, looking at the hundreds because we're rounding to the nearest hundredth, and then to the number directly to the right of it. Pause the video and write down what you think the answer is. Unpause it to check your answer. Okay, 763. So the number to the right of the 7 is more than 5. So then that means that hundreds number is going to go up by 1. So it becomes 8. And then everything else becomes a 0. So it rounds up to 800. Okay, what about 182? Pause the video. Think about this 8, if it's more or less than 5, and then that will give you your answer. Pause the video, write your answer down, and then unpause it to check your answer. So we have 182. So 8 is bigger than 5. It is greater than 5. So that means the hundred's going to go up by 1, and then the others change to 0. So it's going to round up to 200. That means that this number is closer to 200 than 100. Okay? Let's try some word problems. If pencils are sold in packs of 10 and there are 26 students in second grade, how many packs of pencils will a teacher have to buy? Okay, so think about this. Okay, so is that closer to 20 or 30? That's what you're looking at. So you want to look at the number here and decide. We're going to round to the nearest 10 because our packs come in 10s. See that? Our packs come in 10. So if we're rounding this number, what will it round to? Pause the video and think about it. Okay. So I have 26. 6 is more than 5. So that means that it'll go up by 1, and then the 6 will turn to 0. So there are about how many students in this class? There are about 30 kids. Okay? So how many packs of pencils will a teacher have to buy if there's about 30 kids and there's 10 packs in every pencil? Remember, you've got to know how to skip count by 10. So if you don't know how to do that yet, you need to be practicing. So let's skip count by 10. Okay? 10, we'll put a tally mark. 10, 20, 30. Okay, so there's about 30 kids in the class. How many packs of pencils will she have to buy? Count your tally marks. Okay, so your answer is 3. And you need to label it for it to be correct. 3 packs. There, and that's your answer there. Practice to doing this. If you still don't know how to round very well, you can rewatch the video and practice. You can go on YouTube and search rounding to tens and hundreds, and you can watch some videos there. Or you can ask an adult or an older sibling. I bet they can help you too. And there'll be some more lessons throughout the week. So practice, 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 and that's how you get good at rounding.